Welcome everybody. As you can see, we have a slew of products from Anker. So we're going to be testing and reviewing the Anker Solix F3800 Plus. It's their new upgraded model. We have an expansion battery and we have a generator adapter cable, which is one of the newest features that I'm really excited to test with this. And behind me, some Anker solar panels. So let's get to it. Hi everybody, I'm David. Welcome to my channel. In this video, Anker sent me a bunch of products, so I'm going to be testing these and reviewing them in this video. Now starting with the Anker Solix F3800 Plus portable power station. What's nice about this unit is that it has the battery, the inverter, solar charge controllers, all built into one, and it puts out both 120 and 240 volts. Right here, we have both the 120 and the 240 volts. So that's great out of one unit. You don't have to parallel multiple units to get that 240 volts. We have an expansion battery, so we're going to be able to test that with this unit and see what our total capacity is with the two combined. This guy over here is what I'm super excited about. This is a generator adapter cable. So we have a standard generator plug on one end, and on the other end, we have the proprietary plug for communicating with the Anker Solix. All of that will get controlled through the app on our phone, and we're going to try charging this system with the Anker flat solar panels instead of their folding solar panels. We have some really cool products, and I can't wait to test them out. Here we go. From the looks of it, it looks all in good shape. So I hope that means that the solar panels inside are going to come out clean without any cracks or scrapes. All right. All right, these are listed as 410 watt panels, and they are UL listed. There's a sleek black frame to it. I have two kids that I'm sure are gonna love this. These panels look great. And at 410 watts, they look like they're probably really efficient because these look about the same size as some other panels that I have, which are about 6 years old, and they are 365 watts. Let's take a look inside the box. It's well packaged, even with a little bit of damage right here. It doesn't look like anything got to the Anker Solix F3800 Plus. We have warranty, manual. Over on this side, we have the AC charging cord, and we have two adapter cables for the solar panels. These are MC4 connectors on one side, and on the other side, it looks like an updated version. The old Anker Solix F3800 used an XT60. This is a different connector that I haven't seen before, but it looks like it has a locking mechanism to it. F3800 Plus. Great. On the front, it looks like we have the car adapter socket right there. We have our USB ports on off. On the side, we have our AC receptacles. We have our 6 120 volt receptacles. We have our 240 volt 120 twist lock. And then over here, this used to be a different connector on the first model. So now on the Anker Solix F3800 Plus, they've changed it. This now says 120 volt 25 amp max. So I think this is used more in RVs. I don't have an RV, but I think that's more an RV style plug. And then we have some circuit protection. On the top, we have our handle. Over on this side, we have a port here, which is proprietary. This is for connecting up to the Anker Solix home power panel. And I believe this is also where the adapter goes for charging with a generator. We have a 120 volt charging socket. We have two separate ports here for connecting up to solar panels. These are 2 MPPT, or maximum power point tracking. They've upgraded this to 165 volts each, 17 amps. This is for expansion batteries. That looks like a generator symbol, but over here in the manual, it lists that as DC input port. All right. So DC input port. To charge this, we're going to put in the 120 volt cord. I'm plugging it in to an extension cord, but you would put that in your wall outlet. Let's see if it turns on. Yep. So it did turn on. It says the battery's at 26%. And it's looking to pair. So it wants me to connect up with Wi-Fi. Now, when you are plugged in with 120 volts, this can be used as a UPS, or uninterruptible power supply. And these 3 ports here will allow you to pass through 120 volts. But when you're plugged in with 120 volts, you cannot use the 240 volt receptacle. So it's just these are powered up as a UPS, pass through. So right off the bat, let's try turning on the AC port. And we are not charging right now. So this AC cable is disconnected. So we're just on the battery. Great, so we know that works right off the bat. And also right off the bat, let's try the 240 volt outlet. Well, that kicked on. Let's see what the screen here says. Uh, 4,836 watts. And it says we have 0.1 hours remaining. This Anker Solix F3800 Plus, it powered right up and powered some loads as soon as I plugged it in, but it's at 26%. So before we do more load testing on this, I'd like to charge it. Now, Anker sent some of their solar panels, and these are 410 watt solar panels. They sent me 4. So let's take them outside right now because it's nice, bright and sunny. Let's charge this up. We have 4 panels, so I'm going to hook 2 panels in series per MPPT input. So we're going to have 2 separate strings to 2 separate charge controllers that are built into this. So let's go outside and try to wire that up. We have these beautiful panels set out here. So each panel is 410 watts, which means we have 820 watts, which will feed per MPPT. Now, each MPPT can take up to 1600 watts. So in theory, you could double these, but you will have to make sure that you stay below the volts open circuit with the cold temperature adjusted. So I have one short MC4 cable and one long MC4 cable from Anker. So the long one will go to the far end, we'll series connect them in the middle, and the short one will be right here. So let's bring the camera in closer and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so on the back side of the panel, we have an MC4 connector. So I'm going to take this short cable that I have and we'll connect it right here. So now we have a short cable that can go this end over to the Anker Solix F3800 Plus. And now let's series connect them. This is the middle one, and let's snap it off. So here's the MC4 cable, and we'll just snap it off and bring it over, series connection over to this side, and we'll connect it up to this MC4 cable. So now I've taken the negative from this panel and I've connected it up to the positive of this panel, making them in series. That is going to double the voltage. Over on this side, we have our long MC4 cable. We'll take this end, we'll connect it up, and this side I'll toss over towards the Anker Solix. Man, that sun is bright today. Now these are 410 watt panels. They're from Anker and they really are beautiful panels. There's two of them in series. Now the VOC, or volts open circuit, per panel is 37.4 volts. Now I have two of them in series, so the VOC should be 74.8 volts. But that's not the whole story. In my area, that is a 21% increase. So we have to multiply that by 1.21. These two panels in series could put out up to 90.5 volts in really cold temperature or cloud edging scenarios. So we have to keep that into account. So I wouldn't want to connect all four panels in series to one MPPT in my climate. In a hot climate, you can probably get away with that, but not here where it's colder. So let's see what the VOC is right now. So right now we have 73.2 volts open circuit off these two solar panels. And that's because they've been sitting here in the sun warming up. But you know, if it was first thing in the morning and they were still cold, or if we got some clouds moving across, we might see higher than that. But you have to keep that into account. Both strings are plugged in. It's going to be hard to see. It says, right now the screen says 1300 watts of charging. So it's going to take a little less than 2.5 hours to recharge this battery. It's a 3.8 kilowatt hour battery inside here. Now I have been asked, while it's solar charging, can we still use the ports? And the answer is yes. So let's test that right now. So right now we're solar charging. This is the 240 volt shop heater. We'll turn on the AC panel, plug it in. I just heard the relay click. And the fan is running. Let's see if I can read that display. Yep, we still have 1300 watts coming in, and we have 4.8 kilowatts going out to the heater. So the 240 volt plug still works. Let's try the 120. Yep, that still works. So it's very convenient having all of this packaged into one thing. We have the battery, the inverter, and the charge controllers all in one convenient package. Well, it's been about an hour, so let's see how we're doing. Wow, 1670 watts. So these panels are putting out their nameplate rating right now. Well, it's probably full, so let's check it out. It's been a good 2.5 hours. And yeah, we got 100%. Excellent. Zero charging. So let's go ahead and take these off. There we are. We just finished charging up this Anker Solix F3800 Plus. It's at 100%, and charging it worked out great. Now, originally it thought that it was going to take 2.4 hours, but that was at 1300 watts. When I checked it about an hour later, we were up over 1600 watts. And so it actually charged in a little under its original estimate. So really, Anker did a great job upgrading the charge controllers, the MPPT solar charge controllers in this model, the Plus model, compared to the original. Now let's open up an expansion battery. You can hook up several expansion batteries to one of these portable power stations. I have one for demonstration purposes, and yeah, let's check it out. So, one of those boxes in a box scenarios. All this stuff is packaged really well. So it looks like we have the cable on here. That is a beefy cable. I don't know if it locks in or not. Oh. And we have two ports here, and that's for setting up multiple batteries. And I think this one is the one that we want for connecting to the Anker. there. And battery over here. So it says 94%. How about we plug in the AC and see what happens? We know that the battery on board the bottom unit is full at 100%. So we're charging. Let's bring them both up to 100%. Well, the top battery is 3.8 kilowatt hours, which is the same size battery as what we have in the bottom unit. So we've now doubled our total capacity to 7.6 kilowatt hours. And with the increase charge controllers, we can recharge this whole package in one good sunny day. So I really like that we can do that whole thing. We need enough solar charge controller capacity to recharge the battery bank in one day, and that's what we've got. Well, we are at 100%. We're fully charged for both the expansion battery and the power station. So this gives us a total of 7.6 kilowatt hours together for both of them. So we're going to do a capacity test and see how much of that 7.6 kilowatt hours potential can we actually use. I'm just going to hook up a 1500 watt space heater, and we'll pull the power through this simple meter, and it'll measure the kilowatt hours that we consume. We're probably going to get something closer to 6 kilowatt hours out, because the inverter is going to consume something for the energy, and there probably is going to be a little bit left over in the capacity, since usually the battery management system, the BMS, is programmed not to go all the way to 0%. But we're going to find out together. And we'll turn on our heater. So as you can see, this is kilowatt hours on the bottom, and that's slowly going up. 60 hertz. We're currently pulling 1.5 kilowatts, and we've got 120 volts. On the display, it also shows 1.5 kilowatts being pulled, and it says we have 4.5 hours until we deplete it. Excellent. And we'll also set our timer so that we can see that. And so I've missed about a minute so far, but now we got the timer going. I'll catch back with everybody later. All right, not much time left. Only 4%. It's been running really well. 4 hours and 10 minutes so far. 6.4 kilowatt hours. And there we go. So that was a little over 6.7 kilowatt hours at 4 hours and 21 minutes. This predicted 4.4 hours of runtime, and it pretty much did that. A couple of minutes off. I mean, now at this point we have 1% remaining, and that's when it shut off the external plugs. So we're just going to plug this in and let it charge itself back up for all of our tests, which I'll conduct tomorrow because it's actually pretty late. Before I can use the generator adapter cable, I have to make sure that the firmware on this is most up to date. I guess that's the only one that works with the adapter. And in order to do that, I had to download an app on the phone. So you go to Google Play Store, you download the Anker app, and create an account, which I did. And so now I'm going to try to do the screen recording on this phone so that we can put it up on camera and everybody can see what I'm seeing. And we have to add device. So I'm going to click add device. Allow Anker to find, connect, position your, okay, I guess I have to do that. So it did find the Anker Solix F3800 Plus. Let's click settings. All right, and it does say that there is an upgrade available for the firmware. So let's click that. The new version is 3.2.8. So let's update and update. All right, so I'm gonna let this update the firmware and then we'll catch back. All right, it says update successful. Done. Well, now we're coming up to the part of the testing that I'm most excited about. With this upgraded version, Anker now allows a generator input, which will allow you to charge the battery and have pass-through current to the 240 volt plug from your generator. In order to do that, Anker has sent me their adapter cable. Inside the box, you can see it's well packaged. One end is the NEMA L14-30, your 30 amp 240 volt plug. The other end is the proprietary plug for the power station. And I'm going to try plugging this in just to see if there's a firmware on this device. I don't know if there is or not. So yeah, it's kind of funny that the port on the very bottom that looks like a generator is not the port for this. This is round. So we have to go up here to the port that's labeled for the home power panel. All right, so right now it's scanning for more devices. All right, and it says no more devices. So I guess the adapter does not require a firmware. And on the screen, it actually shows with a generator hookup. Great. Let's see if that changes when I remove the generator adapter. Yeah. So I just took away the adapter cable and the generator symbol went away. So that is cool. Let's get this outside and test it. It should work out just fine. We're going to be good for a while, but it is the middle of winter and it's about 20 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So I can't leave this out here overnight or anything. So let's run the test. I've got the extra battery hooked up. I've got the adapter cable right here, which I'm going to be plugging in to the generator after it has fired up. I use this battery just to help start the generator because the onboard lead acid battery is dead. In the app, and I'm recording this right now, so we should be able to see it together, there's a generator input. And it senses whether you're putting 120 volts in or 240 volts in. So if you're going to feed it with 120, you only get 120 volts out. That would not be good for the home power panel if you have that separate device. In our case, we have a 240 volt generator, so we're only going to get 240 volts out, which is what you want in order to feed that home power panel. Now, the default settings here say running watts is 3600 watts. We're going to look at the little data plate right here. In the app, you have to tell it the rating of the generator. Now in here it says running wattage and the default is 3600 watts. This happens to be a Honda EU 6500. So the name of the generator is 6500, but that is the surge rating. Now that's pretty common in consumer grade generators. They rate them based on the surge. If you look at the data plate here, it actually says rated output. That's the running watts, is going to be 5.5 kVA, or about 5,500 watts. So we're going to change that rating in here. Running watts, we're going to change it to 5,500 and save. And max recharging wattage, let's adjust that. Okay, so we need more expansion batteries. The highest we're allowed to set this to is 4,300 watts with our current setup. All right, so we've done that. We click save. To the side. Like I said, we're feeding this with 240 volts, so we shouldn't get any 120 volts out. So we'll try it. Okay. Yep. So I turned on the AC panel. This is a 120 volt space heater, and we're not getting any power. So there's no power at the 120 volts. All right. So next, we're going to try this 240 volt space heater. All right, so we got it. This is now running. We are currently doing pass-through, meaning the power from the generator is passing through this and going to power the heater. Any excess is going to keep the batteries maintained. We're going to try shutting off the generator now. I just heard this click. Okay, now the heater is still running. So we still have 4.7 kilowatts exiting through this heater. I'm gonna let the heater run for 15 minutes or so. We'll deplete a little bit of the battery. So hopefully next time I fire up the generator, we can see what's going to power the load and what's going to recharge the battery. All right, everybody, I'm back and I just shut off the shop heater. Let me quickly run through what we're about to do before I fire up the generator and have the noise from that drown out the microphone. The battery is down to 90%. So hopefully when we fire this up, we're gonna see in the app some of the power being used to charge the battery, and some of the power can then go to loads. Let's turn this around. There we go. We are plugged in to the 240 volts only. So we found that the 120 volt receptacles for things like this get shut off. But while we're passing through, let me try using one of these adapters. This is the L14-30 plug on one end, and then we have some receptacles on the other for 120 volts. And this gives us the two phases. So we're gonna try powering some 120 volt loads in the pass-through mode. So we'll give all that a shot. Let's fire it up. We're actually seeing charging. There's nothing on the AC output. We're charging up, and it's charging at 4,300 watts. So now let's turn this on. Here we go, we're outputting. So we have an input of 5,100. Let's turn this off. Okay, so now we're still charging, and it's ramping up the charging. So now we're gonna try a 120 volt heater. For 0 watts output. I'm turning on the space heater. Now we just jumped up. Now let me try this. Well, there you go. We were able to successfully use a gasoline generator and this Anker generator adapter cable to recharge the Anker Solix F3800 Plus with the expansion battery. While we were doing that, we were able to power 240 volt loads, and using that adapter, I was able to then power 120 volt loads. But 240 volts in means only the 240 volt receptacle out is active. The 120 volt receptacles get turned off. Now this generator adapter cable is rated for 25 amps, which is at 240 volts. That's 6 kilowatts or 6,000 watts, which means that I could actually get a little bit larger generator hooked up to this. So if you don't currently have a generator and you're in the market to buy one for the use with this setup, I would recommend something more along the lines of an 8,000 watt generator, running wattage. That way you're not overloading it, you're not working it super hard. It's gonna last a little bit longer. Usually they're a little bit more fuel efficient running at a little bit lower than 100% load. So an 8,000 watt generator connected to this setup will probably be a little bit more efficient. Well, it has been a lot of fun testing out the new Anker Solix F3800 Plus. I'll leave plenty of links down in the description if you're interested in any of this equipment. I think this is a very good solution for someone who doesn't want to build their own, but wants that 120 and 240 volt output. This is a nice portable system. So I like this setup quite a bit for something like a construction site. I used to be a contractor and I would have loved having this instead of running the generator all day long, or an off-grid cabin or something like that. If you're interested in any of this, please check out the links in the description below. And thank you to Anker for sending me the equipment to test so that I can give you guys a good review on it. All right, please like, subscribe, comment, and share.